Radio in motion program loading in 3, 2, 1. Program activated.
Attention everyone, the unpleasant noise you are about to hear coming from your radio is not a mistake.
Okay, first things first, what is your name?
This is Big Sonny playing the best of the 90s and beyond.
Are you ready for this?
Yeah. Radio in motion.
Please do not turn off your radio, but turn up the volume on your receiver as high as it can go.
All right, ready? Here we go.
Radio in motion.
All right, welcome back to the show. Thanks for joining me on tonight's Radio Motion, our spring into 70s. But first up, we're going to have another installment of The Ugly Truth. And the truth can be ugly, but the truth can set you free. I want to talk about a couple things tonight. First up, I was debating on whether to comment at all on the Olympics. I suppose I wanted to say this. I feel like the Olympics, when I think of the Olympics, I think of an athlete who has dedicated their life to finding a singular pursuit of amazing performance. And let's face it, the Olympics is about physical sports and competition, and they find a way to ensure their body is tuned to perfection and that they are at the peak of their ability in their particular sport. And you think of running and track and javelin throwing and gymnastics, and I get that we're in the modern age that some other sports have crept in. There's like a BMX bikes and skateboarding. And again, by the way, I'm not knocking that. I can't do that. They are also amazing athletes. They can do astounding things, and the body, their bicycle and the skateboard, still doing amazing theatrics. Gymnastics, I won't even begin to say that one I feel is the most amazing thing that a human body can do. That the repetition, practice, and the mindset to jump off the pommel horse and to jump and spin around in the air and land without killing yourself is already amazing. So first of all, props to anyone who dedicates their life to anything like that. And yes, you deserve, when you win, to be given a medal, and you're the best. Where am I headed with this? I guess, like I said, some of the sports were creeping in, like skateboarding, still an amazing skill, but yes, the breakdancing one. Yes, I know. We're all talking about it, and we're all talking about the Australian, her name, Ray Gunn. And I get it. I'm certainly not knocking her either. Anyone who has worked hard to make an Olympic team and has been chosen to represent their country is amazing. Having said that, the only thing I'm going to say is I guess I just feel like I don't picture some of these sports as traditional sort of sports that you think about, hard sweat and dedication, and especially when, I'm not going to be mean, I've watched the footage, especially of her particular dancing. I do feel like there are a lot of others who are certainly probably at their peak and performance a bit better than her. But again, in general, breakdancing, I feel it opens the door to a lot of other things that aren't quite sports. I mean, especially I feel like America has a lot of influence in trying to put these things that, what are we good at in America? Oh, we're awesome at skateboarding. Let's press the Olympic Committee to put in skateboarding. How about BMX biking? We're the only people that really even do that. Poor countries can't even afford a BMX bike. You know what I mean? The next thing will be like beer pong or golf cart racing. I'm just saying, we are awesome at golf cart racing. I tell you, a couple of these guys I know, they can race the hell out of a golf cart. Let's get that into the Olympics. I'm just saying it's a slippery slope, folks. Let's keep it good, exciting, clean competition. Anyway, that's all I wanted to say about that. I did want to talk a bit about how I think when you hear the phrase politics, some people are just aghast by it, and they don't want to get into it because they think they're just going to become something heavy and negative. And it's more about, I think, for everyone, especially these days, you just need to think about what you believe in. and that can be something like family or community or a religion or whatever it is that you believe in, that drives you to be the best that you can, and for those that you love. And I was asked recently, I was talking to a friend who specifically asked me point blank, what are your political views? I actually never had that question point blank, because most people skirt around that issue, and I think he was looking for the answer of sort of, are you right leaning or left leaning? And honestly, without even thinking about it, naturally, the answer that came up inside me was, I said, I suppose I'm a humanist. I'm on the side of humans. And based on that, being on the side of humanity in general, based on that, that's where I try to make my decisions. And again, we're all different. You all have a different way that you arrive to how you choose a certain point of view in the world. But for me, it really, especially lately, it really derives from thinking about just us as a people and a human race. Because I will say, and this is not becoming the conspiracy theorist and the evil oligarchy and the deep state. Having said that, you do have to, if you look deep inside you, you can imagine that there are people in the world, unfortunately, who don't have your best interests at heart. And you as an individual, you as a community, you as a city, a town, or a state, and bigger. And in general, you have to know that, of course, the world is not a perfect place. None of us are perfect. But I think for the most part, people have a natural pursuit of happiness and to do well in their lives and help their family and friends to also do well. And there are also those who don't. And I'm sorry, that is a fact. And whatever you believe, I hope you do know that there are people in the world who don't have your best interests at heart. So that's where I'm always coming from a place of, especially if I'm going to choose someone in politics or choose someone to speak for me, I want them to be on the side of us, because frankly, lately, folks, there's a lot of people who aren't. I was going to mention something again, and this isn't uniquely American. I've lived in Australia half of my life, and I'm from the U.S., and I've always found amazing similarities as much as I do differences. And I think both countries are filled with amazing people who have such great ideas and build such great things and great communities, and whether it's scientific advancements or just the cities and the way that you live and your dedication to each other, I think there are a lot of similarities. So when I say something specifically from the U.S., I feel like it also translates to other countries who have that same mindset. And a lot of times I do think about, there were some important words written a long time ago, and people seem to dismiss that when they think of like the Declaration of Independence or the Constitution. And in the UK and Australia, you have your own versions of these, but I can only really talk about, the things that I know. I'm not going to talk about things that I'm not aware of. But for me, I like talking about some of the words, and these are important words written a long time ago that I think a lot of the people who are making choices right now, especially in politics, people to speak for them, they should go back to the basics and think about what sort of the creators and forefathers of that country had in mind. And one of those things is, in the Declaration of Independence, it says, that all men are created equal and that they are endowed by their creator with certain unalienable rights. And that's an important word, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. That's the really important line there, as well as some of the others, that these powers of the governments, they derive their powers from the consent of the governed, the consent of the people. And again, like I always say, you look these things up yourself. You Google everything you want, or you talk to your friends and you find out if what the kind of things you're hearing or you see are true. And I believe lately, we tend to believe that the government and the politicians, they're just these these amazing smart people, and they must have gone to school for years. They must be experts in this because they're up there and we're down here. And a lot of times lately, I think you really overestimate them. And I really think you assume that they speak for you. I don't think they always do, and that's the problem lately. The government is you. You are the government. Again, I know it's a little bit different in the U.S., but let's be honest. When we talk about, the monarchy, the king and queen these days, lovely. The king these days, very lovely, but really just more of a PR thing out there waving his hand and doing good community service. Let's face it, the people run the country, okay? The days of the overrulers are gone. Having said that, there are other rulers. And these are the people, really, these are the big money people, and these are the ones in control. And like I say, if you don't choose someone who speaks for you, then you have lost that control. So nowadays, yes, what's the hot topic? Of course, it's the U.S. Presidential election. You can't not at least passively be a part of that. And I guess the reason I talk about these things is sometimes I'll get in conversations where someone has a response and it seems so visceral. And then when I ask them to explain why they had that opinion, they really can't explain it to me. It's because someone else said it, or they heard it on TV, or in just passing, they say, oh, I can't stand Trump, or I can't stand Biden, or I like Biden, I like Trump, but they can't really tell me why. That's fine. My advice, though, is don't get into a really deep or heated conversation about someone who's really trying to figure out what should we do as a people to get our power back. And then when you just pick one person because you said, I don't like him because I think he's a misogynist or a racist, just because someone said that, because you know that, because you have facts about that. But having said that, just because I talk favorably about one or the other doesn't mean I'm in anyone's camp. Frankly, lately I believe vote for none of the above, I tell you, because I do feel like the government in general, especially in the U.S., it is a bit of a swamp. It really is. It's just a total swamp. You don't know what's going on there, and all they want to do is make sure they keep track of every single thing you do. Every little thing you do, they want it to be controlled and quantified, and they want to keep track because you are the commodity. Your life is the commodity. You're like the avatar in the virtual world, and everything about you is on sale, folks. Don't tell me that you don't believe that when you go onto your phone. Everything you look up, everything you watch, everything you purchase, again, you may think you're in control of that, but let's be honest. You are the commodity. Everyone wants a piece of you. They want your money. They want your obedience. And I don't think that sounds what was intended for us creating a government by the people for the people. Again, I'm sure you've heard that phrase. It doesn't seem to translate really well these days. So again, the government is a swamp in general, and one side is always bringing all the power they can to bear against the other. And again, if you're someone that doesn't want to get too deep into it, I get it, but at least know your facts before you sort of take a side. Trump is not perfect. Biden certainly was not perfect. So you have to ask yourself, out of the worst of both of these, if they're both the worst, and you have to choose one. And again, this translates to all your local politics as well. I'm sure these decisions come down to, I really don't like either of them. You just need to decide which one you think is speaking for you. And I don't mean just propaganda. I don't mean tick boxing. I mean actually speaking for your family and your community and what you want to see. Look, as much as I say there are a lot of things I think that are positive about Trump, I could say a lot of negative things too. You have to decide Trump is someone who's not in it for the money. I think you have to think about that. You have to consider that because a lot of politicians, and again, you have to know this, they have been in office and the entire time their wealth has grown from being in office. So I'm just saying you have to watch out when the pursuit is about power and money. He has all the power and money he needs, frankly. He already was and is doing everything he wants to in the business world. So that's certainly not the pursuit. Having said that, you can see that he is aligning himself with people like Elon Musk. And I won't get too much into Elon Musk here because as much as he's done some good things, I do think he's opened up Twitter a lot and now X. I also think maybe some of his motives are a bit nefarious because let's face it, anyone who has moved high enough in the ranks and made the kind of money he does by being very intelligent and making very good business moves also would never be 100% altruistic, let's be honest. So yeah, he's not perfect. And Silicon Valley, let's face it, Silicon Valley is huge control, like universally, and especially in America. And Trump is certainly making sure that he's aligning himself here. I will say this, and I think this is a positive. I explained this to someone and they said, you know what, I never knew that. I didn't realize it. However, they just were vehemently just against Trump, terrified that he was just going to launch a bunch of nukes and destroy the world. I said, do you realize during his presidency, he was the first president since Carter to not get the U.S. into any new wars, and in fact, tried to get us out of wars. So every other president, sorry to say, whichever one you're on the side of, if it was Obama or Clinton or Biden, all of them essentially made sure that we got into a new war. Why? Because let's face it, folks, the military-industrial complex, and this is in Australia too, and in the UK, it is big money. War is big money. It just is. That's a fact of life. And so many politicians are part of that machine. So again, if you're like, oh, I don't care, Trump's still a creep, I don't care, I think you need to think about the bigger picture, because a lot of the other candidates, and this does include Kamala Harris, she's in the same murky boat where all of the people who are supplying the funds, okay, you're only as good as the people paying for you. And again, Trump's different. He's got his own money. But if you're beholden to someone who's flipping the bill and they say, you know, we've got some interests over here in the Ukraine or Israel and we've got this military contract, and again, you think I'm a conspiracy theorist, that's fine. You just look up how much money the war machine makes, especially in America, and it touches your lives in ways you couldn't even imagine. So many products, so many deals. And when that is that much money and power, and they have an influence over the leader of the free world, I'm just saying, that's a bit of a worry. So again, I think that's a positive for Trump. He is not a warmonger. If anything, I think he's a slick talker who would get us out of some real sticky situations. Like I say, the Democrats in general have proven themselves to love the war machine. Here's the other thing that I think is strange. I've been away for a bit. I went on holiday. I came back and I feel like the attempted assassination on Trump, that's just been pushed to the side now. That's over. That was a blip in time. That's a non-issue. Isn't that interesting? And again, if you're keeping up with this, if you're not, look it up yourself. But if you are keeping up with this, Kamala Harris, she went from the hidden vice president who frankly has done nothing and has been inept in every way, and I'm only talking about her actual track record in the business of being the vice president. She has been a disaster, so much so that, like I say, they've tried to keep her hidden. Now she is the media's best friend. She's got Hollywood behind her and mainstream media behind her, and she's rolling on that. So if you want to make the mainstream happy and make Hollywood happy because you care what they think, then you should definitely vote for her, because then they'll be happy. But are you actually looking to make them happy or your life better? You know, and it's funny. Currently, she's running on nothing. She has commented on nothing. She has not talked about any policies whatsoever. So you have no idea what her stance is, except to just go wherever the wind blows or wherever the money blows. And the thing is the little things that she has promised cracks me up when they do this. She'll say, if I'm elected president, I'm going to do this. I'm going to lower taxes. I'm going to make sure, the economy's better. All these promises. So why haven't you done that? Why aren't you doing it now? Why haven't you done it in the past 4 years? That cracks me up. You're going to do it, but you haven't done it. And everything you've done has been terrible. So that's a joke as it is. Also, the other thing, I don't know if you know how it works in America, but the way this went down is horrible and very insidious. She still hasn't even officially been voted in because there is a such thing as primaries and being nominated. She just sort of slid in. That's not how that works, and you have to worry about that. Again, for so many people who are actually, and this is Hollywood and mainstream media, they actually used to talk a bunch of crap about her only a few weeks ago, mind you, a month ago, and for years, nothing positive. Now all of a sudden, the switch has flipped, and she is the flavor of the month, folks. I'm like, I hope you can all see through that. That's all. And if you can't, what can I say? You might not be awake. I know, the common term now is everybody's woke. A lot of people are. I'd rather be awake than woke, because I feel like so many people are truly asleep. And those who are awake, I think they live in a world of constant amazement. And again, it's only been, you have to think of this. Not only was the assassination attempt, but it's only been 3 weeks since Biden dropped out on X, by the way, formerly Twitter. So dropping out of the presidential race via X, not even like a press conference, just kind of kind of like a forced tweet, like, someone was, holding a gun to his head. This is a worry that it went down in such a way. And then he so much as admitted that the Democratic Party and all those around him essentially persuaded him to step aside because they didn't have the confidence or the faith in him that he would win. How nasty is that? That is so. These are the people again that are supposedly speaking for you, and this is how they treat the president, the person that they supposedly backed. Like, again, only a few weeks ago, he was confident and sharp, and they backed him, and he was got another 4 years. Another 4 years, he can do it. He's everything. And then, oh my God, again, the Biden and Trump debate came out, and you saw that his cognitive decline has not only been going on for years, but has reached a sharp endpoint and was obvious. They more than likely had a talk with him and probably promised him, the Biden library, look, we'll get you a library. You can wander around and get lost in there and talk to the books. Hey, but you gotta go or else. You know what I mean? That's gotta worry you, that we live in a world where someone that you think has power actually had people around him, the people you don't see, the people you don't know, who said, you know what, you gotta go. And not on your own volition. It's time to go. And again, you can look it up. You can look up the clip where he so much as admitted that he was advised to step aside. By the way, he's still the president as we speak right now. So he doesn't have the ability and the cognitive ability, and he doesn't have the mental faculties to continue as president moving forward. But he's okay just for now. I think, again, this is just hilarious how the media shielded him for all those years, and then they immediately turned on saying, oh, that's good that he stepped aside. And Kamala, who was again a joke, she's on it now. So again, these things are concerning, are they not? So, like I say, vote for none of the above. Or at least, if you're going to vote for the lesser of two evils, depending on your point of view, I always say choose the one that you think is actually going to make a change and not just blow smoke, blow smoke up you. Some of the things that she says she was standing behind, she's now flip-flopped on. And again, I know this is a touchy subject, but in America and in other countries, there is just a huge influx of immigration, and her stance and Biden's stance has always just been to completely ignore it. And she has pretty much compared ICE to the KKK 100%. So they went from being evil to now, because she's got a chance to get in, she's going to try to work on the issues of the border. And like I say, when it comes to anything immigration-wise, please understand, my stance is America derives its huge strength, as always, from being a huge melting pot. It is all about diversity. That is not a new word or a new thought. I'm so tired of people shoving that down my throat, as if America wasn't already built on diversity without it being forced naturally. People from all countries and all cultures are celebrated there. And it's not about cultural appropriation. If there's a Mexican food restaurant or an Italian food restaurant, you can choose all of these, and they are all celebrated and shown on display there. It's not that they've been absorbed by the evil white man. All cultures are amazing. But when it comes to immigration, it's called legally migrating to another country, going through the paperwork like so many people have, like millions have done it the proper way. And when they get in, you should see when they do like the word on the street from anyone who has immigrated legally, they have nothing but good things to say about America because it gave them their chance, or Australia or the UK, because it gave them the chance to be the best they can and find that job, make that business, bring their family and create a life. And they've come from countries where I love it when all the soy boy college teens, they're always complaining, oh, America, down with America, and it's so evil, it's terrible, while they're wearing their Nike shoes and a Prada bag, and their parents are going to pick them up in a Mercedes. They have no idea what it's like to come from somewhere like Cuba or a dictator communist regime. Immigrants know what a bad government is like. So what am I going on about here? I'm going on about when there are millions, and this has been proven, it's like 5-10 million have just spilled into the country. That's not how it works. That's not immigration. That's a mass migration, and it can affect the ecosystem of a small town and a city, and that's what's happening. So again, subjects like that people get really triggered by, and they just think, oh, you're just anti-immigration, and you don't want people to get in. You hate anyone from another country. No, it is so unregulated right now. There are so many small towns in America, they don't even know what to do, because you can't just get an influx of millions of people and then go, where are we going to put you? Again, I believe America still has plenty of room and opportunity to work that out. But when you strain the system like that, it doesn't work. All it does is take someone who is in a bad situation and they think, oh, I'm going to go to the land of opportunity, and that's fine. And they end up in the land of opportunity at a time when millions of others are doing it at the same time, and they end up not finding their dream. Because I'm going to tell you what, folks, a lot of them are young kids and women, and that's a fact. And if you don't want to hear that, then don't talk about immigration. Because a lot of them are actually all single men of military age, frankly, so they're not seeking asylum. I'm sorry. The majority of them are not seeking asylum. They're just seeking a better life. That's fine too. The ones who are seeking asylum, because there's such an influx, their kids are going to end up in horrible places, folks, because they exist, and that's quite sad. Their kids are going to end up not living the American dream. They're going to end up living the American nightmare. So again, I don't want to get too deep with that, but I'm just going to say, when you talk about those sort of subjects, you need to understand the big picture about what you're talking about. So again, if someone has a stance on that says, I'm going to be difficult and hard on the border, I think that's all their meaning is, that there needs to be a modicum of control and steps to legally begin your new life in another country. So again, that's really all I wanted to say, is that all in all, when I was asked about what side am I on, my side is about finding out as much as I can about whatever person I'm going to elect, whether it's the prime minister or the president or a mayor or a governor, someone in my community, just someone to speak for my city council. Am I choosing the person that at least wants to do the best for the people living in that community? Well, the community is as big as your city, your state, and your whole country, and that's all of America right now. And I hope they make the right choice in general. I did want to say really quickly, what happened to RFK Jr. He was an interesting one, and they threw him aside, I think, because he did ask all the right questions, and he was concerned about some of the same things that the people are. And he was always willing to sit down and have a conversation. And he's made all the podcasting rounds, and he wouldn't just stick to one specific mainstream media outlet. And I think that's why they don't like him. And look, again, it's the same reason why they don't like Trump. Again, I'm not some sort of Trumper. I'm not on his side just because I'm blindly saying, oh, let's elect Trump. No. I could say something. I had someone tell me, oh, thank God, Kamala Harris, finally a woman president, and then finally a black woman president. Again, if you're looking at ticking boxes and that's all you want to do, then do it. So you can get that over with. That's fine. But I guess I'm looking for someone who is going to aspire to be elected to a position based on character and merit and experience and suitability for the role. Simple as that. That's like any job you go for, and that's especially for the biggest job of all, the President of the United States. So I won't blindly go for Trump, and I don't think you should blindly go for someone because you want to tick a box. But if you do, fine, get it over with. Say that you had the first woman president, and I hope she really uses her head and starts to actually become a leader. Because frankly, her track record as a vice president has been abysmal, and everyone can tell you that, even her staff, who have been quitting in droves. So again, I believe in backing someone, a leader, based on merit and character. And again, I feel like I don't know where we went. I don't know where we went from the 60s to now with Martin Luther King, and his speeches revolved around speaking about people should be judged based on their character, not the color of their skin. And all of a sudden, we went right back to judging people on the color of their skin. Again, that's another subject I'll get into another time, but when you talk about DEI hiring, it's funny how anyone who tries to defend that, they immediately ruin their own argument, because they'll say something like Kamala Harris at first specifically was a diversity DEI hire. Specifically Joe Biden saying, I'm going to pick 4 black women and choose one of them. Okay, so that's fine, so stand by it. And now when they say, oh, well, you do know that she was a DEI hire, they're appalled by that, they're disgusted. What are you saying? What are you saying? She was chosen because she was a black woman? Yes, they openly said that. No, that's ridiculous. And then you say, oh, so you don't believe in that? No, we do believe in that. Spin in my head, folks. You really need to pick a lane. And also, one more thing, when people say reverse racism, there's no reverse racism. It's just racism, folks. All right, well, like all things in life, choose wisely, and like I say, be on the side of the humans. All right, that's it for this episode of The Ugly Truth. More great music coming up after a word from our sponsors.